Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Paul Calamere. This is your city, your voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q Radio as usual. Yes, we're in the studio today, even though this weather is threatening. It looks pretty goofy out there. Man, oh man, you talk about a change. We were out in the balmy 50-degree weather last week. And now in a few short days, it's dropped down to, well, it was 30 degrees at 4:30 this morning when I got up, and the barometer was sitting at 29.36. And I never took a look at it before I left, but when I look at the weather, I suspect it was falling. 64% humidity. So, yeah, what a wacky day compared to what we had over Friday and the weekend. It was pretty darn nice out there. I hope you all enjoyed it. We're back in the studio here on Manic Monday. Ready to rock and roll. There's so much going on in the world. And, of course, the budget book came out for the operations budget for the city. And in that regard, there's 196 pages and another 81 or 82 pages of explanations and other stuff that I have to go through. I've gone through, well over 100. I think, around page 133. And then I got some distressing information. I jumped to page 188. So I'll be reporting on all this. I'm going to take a day. Let's see, it won't be tomorrow, perhaps Thursday, before Al McNeil comes in from the Property Taxpayers Alliance. And we're going to talk about the regional budget or what happened there, which, was a total mind blower. On Thursday, they had their meeting. And I did say on Friday, I wondered what happened because I never signed anything about it. Well, I'll tell you what happened today. Probably we'll get into a little bit of it today. Okay, we'll get into the regional budget. Then Al McNeil's going to come in, and we're going to talk more about the regional budget, of course, and other budgets that are going on around here. And the big question mark that could happen between now and May 1st. Talk about that. And we'll get into other things. And there's so much going on in the world right now, not just in Niagara Falls, but in the world that we have to talk about them all. Now, if you want to get a hold of me, Paul Calamere, all you have to do is give me a text message on this phone here, 289-994-7560. That's 289-994-7560. And you can message me during the show. And of course, if I do get your message, I am going to read it live on air. And I'll tell everybody what you think about everything that's going on. So that's 289-994-7560. Take that number down because as we talk about the budget, I'm sure you'll have some things to say about the budget and everything else that's going on in the city right now as we move into the end of January, into February, and we get these budgets settled. Our tax bills are going to be coming out pretty soon. And of course, we explained all that. And then there's a little bit of shenanigans, sleight of hand, Houdini type of stuff going on with this casino money. We'll talk about that. And, my eyes are watering like crazy. That cold wind just blows in my eyes, so they go nuts on me. So if you see me wiping my eyes, you'll know why. I'm not crying. I'm not sentimental, although I could cry when I see this budget. It's not because of that. It's not because of that. Now, when I look outside, I look and I say, it's dry out there. Not a bad day, but they say it's maybe some snow today. It's windy out there. That wind that chills you to the bone. But you know one thing, you don't want to break down in your car at this time of year. So what do? You take your car to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You have Ken Hunter look at your car. He's going to check it out. Your cooling system, your heating system, your brakes, your tires, your suspension. He's going to get your car and make sure it's ready for winter. That battery's got to be checked. You don't want it getting really cold and then your car won't start. That's the best way to do it. You take it to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Ken looks it over. He gives you the okay. He sends you out the door, and you don't have to worry about anything for the next 2 or 3 months. Because we are going to get into winter. It's inevitable. I know we only have 6 weeks left and we're into March, but that's when things happen. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. They have a full body shop. You take your car in for repairs and they send it back to you in showroom condition, and that's the way you want it. I'll talk about my other sponsor, Pete's Pizza, on Victoria Avenue, about halfway through the show. We advise you and ask you to support our sponsors. They're good corporate citizens, and we want to support small business and our citizens. I read 4,000 small businesses are going to be shutting down in Canada because of all the nonsense going on with carnage and everything. And talk a little bit about him later. But yeah, so we want to support our small business, and also go to my Facebook page, and go to my YouTube channel, Paul Lemire 4973. Check out Your City, Your Voice. I do a daily show, post it on YouTube by about 3 in the afternoon. For those of you watching on video, you know that. For you, those of you listening on 4680q.com on the internet radio. If you miss a show on the radio at noon, you can catch it on video later on in the day on YouTube and X and Rumble. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. It's a couple hundred subscribers there. We want more. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up. Leave comments. I always talk about comments on the show when I have them. So leave comments and away we go. So let's get into today's show. But first, the Media Creator Report. Of course, they got these cheap old signs, these, I don't know, Coroplast or whatever the heck they are, plastic signs up all around it. Well, guess what? They're all flying in the wind now. I saw one flying down Park Street headed towards the Whirlpool Bridge, and the other one's flapping in the wind like my grandma's scarf. There it is over there. That's going to break off anytime. I don't know if any others broke off, but they're flying all over the place. I mean, what a mess it is. But, it's gray. It's not white anymore. So we're waiting for development to happen. That's probably not going to happen till March. That's what they told me. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Flapping like grandma's old scarf. Okay, now we can't say we live in a dull city or region. It's always ETU, A2, expect the unexpected, and the whole cast of characters running this area. So last Thursday, Regional Council met with their new chair, Bob Gale, sitting in the driver's seat, fantastic, to make the final decision on the 2026 budget. Well, what if a war started and nobody showed up? What would happen is that it would be deferred. And that's what happened with City Council or Regional Council's budget. They deferred it in a 14-13 vote. They decided to delay the decision on the actual budget until the February 5th meeting. Now, why, you ask? Paul, why would they do that? They've had this thing for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Why would they do that? Well, the shortest meeting on record was held last Thursday, 10 minutes. Started with the usual hoopla, but right away a motion was made by Sandra Easton, Lincoln Mayor, to defer the decision to February the 5th, which passed. The pause gives incoming chair Bob Gale a chance to review the budget and suggest, perhaps, any additional cuts. Of course, any changes would have to be approved by the rest of the regional councilors. Easton made the comment that any changes that would be made by Gale could have been suggested when he sat on council, which is true, but he didn't have the authority he has now. The biggest problem right now is the police budget. Council wants $2.7 million cut. The police board said, no, we're not cutting anything. We're done with cutting things. So all that's left is for the council to take it to arbitration if they don't want to pay the $2.7 million. And who knows what could happen there. I mean, when you go to arbitration, the police could come in and say, well, we really wanted another $10 million. We settled for we were gonna settle for this much. Now they want to cut $2.7 million off of that. Well, we want to look for the whole amount. And arbitration is a strange animal, like the arbitrators could say, well, you guys got to have 250,000. You can't run, or a million, 1,000, I wish, a million. You can't run on 237 million. But yeah, well, we asked for 245. They wouldn't give it to us. They cut us down to the. So you never know, right? Lord Mayor of Niagara-on-the-Lake tried to break Easton's motion, saying he came here to make a decision. I came to this meeting to make a decision, not to have it deferred. Councillor Tim Rigby was really pissed off at this. He said, "This is way out of whack. We have spent months and months going through the budget and having our staff do a lot of work, and we finally have it down to one item that needs to be cleared up, and here we are deferring it again." Now, Bob Gale, he had a point. Bob Gale wanted more time, saying February's 5th deadline was too tight, and said he needed time he didn't think he could do in 3 weeks, but council has taken 3 months to do. Council held firm on the February 5th date, though. Now, if you remember, Gale was the councillor that brought forward the motion to cap any increases to 3.5%. So I'm sure Bob Gale, as chair, would want to meet that requirement if he could. That was his motion. It was passed. So I was sure he would want that. But I mean, when you look at a 3.5% increase across all departments, and all of a sudden the police, Niagara Regional Police, want the 11.5%. Oh, you got a problem right there. So the 6.9 increase the region is looking for, the Niagara Regional Police accounts for 2/3 of that budget. Ouch. So some councilors didn't understand the delay or what exactly was going to change. Well, with Bob at the helm, you never know. Bob loves finding efficiencies. I would say it'd be worth Bob taking a good long look at it with the CAO of the region, and I would give him as much time as he needs. That would be me. Councilors are impatient. They want it done. I mean, he could save the taxpayers a couple of percent in the budget, 3% maybe, because he wanted it at 3.5%. If he could do that, that's nice. But no, it's February 5th. That's the date. Bob's going to probably try to sharpen his pencil and get it down to 3.5%. He's got to find $6 million in efficiencies to drop it down to the 3.5% mandate. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but that was the decision. We'll see what Al McKay has to say about it when we come to Friday's show. I'm sure he'll have something to say about that. He'll have some thoughts, and maybe there's some other insight that he can provide that I don't have, or I haven't looked at, or haven't thought of. That's why we bring Al in. He's pretty good. Okay, so over to the Niagara Falls budget. And thanks to Ray Spiteri, he laid out some numbers. I didn't have time between reading through the budget to crank any numbers out, but he had them. And I'm just grinding my way through the 196 pages of questions and recommendations to save taxpayers' dollars. The numbers, according to Ray from the review, staff was recommending a 4.48% operations levy and a 3% capital levy, but our mayor, the big show, came back with 2.93% operations levy with a 2% capital budget levy for a total increase of 4.93%. I mean, they said a long time ago it was going to be 6%. So this isn't a big deal in coming down a percent. It was going to be 7.5%, and then you got to throw on the 1%, so 8.5%. He's going to be down to 6. I mean, that's what we expected anyway, because you have 4.93. Let's call it 5, 1% for asset management, and that they always put on there. So that's 5-6%. Okay, so that's what they were calling for at the beginning of the process. They played the game with the numbers. 7, 8, and then Jimmy comes back with 6. He's a hero. No, he's not. He's not. It should be 0 as usual. But slay the hand, baby. That's what it is. Don't let him kid you. And don't forget, you still have to add on the regional budget numbers along with water, wastewater increases. And of course, we're going to get our transit numbers coming down to us, handed off to us too, which is going to be 16, 17, 20 million. Who knows? what it is. That's all going to be included in the numbers. But yeah, that's going to be there. And also remember that these numbers that they're giving you for 2026, obviously the projections, they're not real, they're projections, because at the end of the day, nobody's got a crystal ball. So they're just giving you what they think they're going to be spending and what revenue's coming in. And they played the big game with the casino money, which I'll talk about on another show. So you have to remember these numbers are just predictions. They're trying to predict what 2026 is going to be like using last year's numbers, 2025 numbers, and adding. Well, I figure they had 3 to 5% on every number. I did a couple calculations going through it, and I noticed a common theme through different departments, and it was like, this is raised 3.3%, this is raised 3.3%, this is raised 3.3%, and it looks like they took last year's numbers, tacked on another 3 or 4%, and that's our new numbers. Trying to account for, I guess, inflation or whatever they call it. Okay, so how do you get the budget down to zero? Well, you find $4.2 million, which is easy to find. I mean, when we get to the casino money, you'll see what I mean. I'm going to explain this to you. It's very, very simple, and it's sleight of hand. That these people, the squirrel, these people are experts at the Houdini effect. Oh yeah, they're experts. They know how to move money around and make it look like they're doing something great. And then they make excuses. Oh yeah, well that was there anyway. We're just moving it over here now and blah blah blah. No, that's not true. That's gaslighting. It's not the way it works. Even though they'll tell you it's the way it works, and they'll make it work like that, it's really not the way it works. And everybody's gonna say, well, who are you? You're not an accountant. You're not a financial expert. Why should we listen to what you're saying? You don't have to. I'm just telling you like it is. You can believe me. You can not believe me. I don't really care. Because either way, you're going to get your tax bill and you're going to see it go up 6%. How they do it is up to them. But it doesn't mean that I can't take a look at it and say, hey, I think this isn't right or that isn't right, or we shouldn't be spending money here or there. That's just my opinion. At the end of the day, we all pay. So you can believe me or not, that's up to you. Okay, so that's how we get the budget down to zero. The final meeting for staff to feed you bologna sandwiches regarding the budget will be January 27th. I don't know, for some reason I thought it was January 20th. That's a regular council meeting, and the budget meeting is a week later. I think maybe because they're going into a closed meeting about the budget on January 19th. They usually go into the closed in-camera meeting where the big show, Hollywood Jimmy, the ringmaster lays down the rules for what happens when the budget comes out, and they discuss any questions they have. Then they come back to us and they do this big dog and pony show. And then, everybody puts their hands up on city council except Lori Lococo, and they approve it. That's what usually happens. So this meeting is kind of to lay down the ground rules. And usually they have the meeting the next day, but this time they're waiting a week. So January 27th. And if you want to go in and look at this budget, it's all in the niagarafalls.ca website, but you can't look under 2026 operations budget. You won't find it. What you got to look under is the mayor's proposed levy marketing, blah, 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 baloney. It's there. I bookmarked the page so I wouldn't have to search for it again because it's there. Now, let's see. Telling you, the new site's not really that user friendly, to be honest with you. I'm not finding it that way. I've been to it 3 or 4 times now trying to use it, and it's not I'm having a hard time finding stuff in it. Let me put it that way. Yeah, you can see the working book for yourself in the new $1 million NiagaraFalls.ca/city government-budget-n-finances/budgets. Yeah, you just can't type in 2026 operations budget and find it. You gotta kind of monkey around, but look for the mayor's proposed levy, and I don't know, something like that. That's the site though. City-government budget-and-finances/budgets. Thanks to Reese Pateri for the article and the review talking about it. You can go there and see all the numbers and everything, right? Pretty good. Well, the Innovation Hub, and this is a thorn in my side, this place. Of course, they're looking for $700,000 again for the Make Work program for the Friends of Jimmy Foundation. Looking for money from us taxpayers, but they don't want to open their books. This is the usual thing, and they don't want to open their books. Council raises their hands every year and gives them $700,000 of our money. 1%, that represents 1%, remember, on your tax bill. And the only one that raises their hand against it is Lori Lococo. She wants to see the books. We should be able to see the books. And of course, Dave Bordenave, or whatever his name is, the lead beggar for the hub, has all kinds of presentations for council. They'll be back presenting this thing for money probably on January 20th. And he said our doors are always open. Listen to this now. I'm going to tell you a little story after I read this. Our doors are always open. We welcome residents to visit the hub and experience firsthand the energy and innovation happening within our walls. For existing business owners or those with new ideas, we are always eager to connect and explore how we can help. That's right. Then they go on to tell you about all the great things they've done over the past year. You think these guys were drawing in $1 trillion they could settle the Canadian national debt. How successful they are, but they're here begging for $700,000. And that's the biggest pile of crap. We're here to welcome you. That's the biggest pile of crap. Unless you are perhaps a minority or some kind of DEI prospect, you ain't getting nothing. Don't believe me? Well, let me tell you my story. Because I'm not any DEI. I'm not any kind of a minority group. I'm just a white guy here just doing a show. So I call the Innovation Hub. But before I called to ask Councilor Lococo told her about my idea, what I wanted to do, and if she knew anywhere where maybe I could go to do this. And it was very simple. I'm doing a podcast here. They weren't sure what they were going to do with the studio here at one point. And I thought, well, I got to find another place. I didn't know what to do. I was going to maybe rent a place or something. I didn't know. And then Lori Lococo, Councilor Lococo, told me, well, talk to the Innovation Hub. They have a studio there, and they rent it out, or they might even help you out to do a podcast. It's about Niagara Falls. I do a show about Niagara Falls and City Council and everything. But she said they'd probably be interested in taking a look at something like that. And I go, oh, that's awesome, man. We have something like that in the city that would help me. And I wasn't looking for anything for free. I just needed a place that was set up to be able to do stuff. So I call up this Innovation Hub and asked to talk to Bordenave, because she gave me his name. I called. Nobody answered, of course. Sent to his voicemail. Click 1 for Dave Bordenave or whatever. And I gave him who my name was. I got referred by Lori Lococo, my name and what I do and what I'm looking for, and maybe he can help me. And 3 weeks later, I still hadn't got a call back from the guy. Our doors are open to anybody. We welcome anybody who wants to come in. This is something that we give as taxpayers $700,000 a year for. Now, 3 weeks go by, and I gave a call to the Innovation Hub. And I said, hey, my name is Paul Lemire. What I'm doing, somebody answered, a woman answered. And she goes, oh, no use, no use leaving a message for him. He'll never get back to you. Who you want to talk to is blah, 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 some other woman. I said, okay, how do I get a hold of her? Well, she's never here, but you can email her. She'll answer your email. Okay. So I got the email, and I sent off an email saying exactly what I said on the recording to Dave Bordenave. And I got a referral from a sitting city councilor. So that right there should have a little bit of pull, considering council okays the money for these clowns all the time. It didn't matter. I sent the email off and never got a reply. And ever, not even once. Not after a day, not after 48 hours, not after a week, a month, a year. It's been 2 years now. I still haven't got a reply. So I finally give up and said, F them all. Why bother? This is just a joke down here. It's some kind of make work program. And they come to city council giving us all kinds of lip service to get their $700,000. But what they actually do, nobody really knows. They don't open their books. So you might say, I have a vendetta against them. No, I don't have a vendetta. I just want to make sure that our $700,000 is being spent right. And my experience with them has been, it's not being spent right. I mean, to not even talk to me, that's ridiculous. Unless they heard my name and they said, we don't want this guy in here. He's a troublemaker. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. But anyway, I think we should open the books. We should take a look at what they're doing. I know they spend a lot of money on salaries over there. They're top heavy for sure. And they come and brag about a lot of stuff, but I don't see a lot going on. And we'll see what happens. But I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to talk more about that. And after I go through these 190 pages, what we really need to run this city. What do we really need? Where are they spending our money? Why are they spending our money there? The sleight of hand with the casino revenue is another thing I'm going to talk about. And I really should get a whiteboard here and do the Uncle Paul's whiteboard and give you the numbers. Maybe I will. I don't know, but I'll explain it to you. I already gave you the cup treatment one time, so we'll see. But moving on from the city, we'll talk more about that. Don't worry about it. There's lots more between now and the end of the month when they okay this budget. And then when we get through that, we've got the regional budget that's going to come down in February 5th. They're supposed to make the decision. And then don't forget, we still have usually a spring budget for either the province or somebody. And then we have an election this year. So after we get through the budget and see our raise 6%, and we see that we've got a 25% raise over the last 4 years with the current council, do we want to put them back there? Do we want to put them back in those chairs? What have they done for us over the last 4 years except tax the crap out of us? Look around. Do you see anything better in this city? I know Jim's up there. Oh, $7.5 million with the capital budget. We're $7.5 million this year, the most we ever spent on roads. $7.5 million, believe me, is just a spit in the bucket. We have to commit $20 million a year for the next 5 years. Not $7.5 million's nothing. Makes it look like a big deal. It's nothing. Believe me, it's nothing. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So, if you could have one tax removed by carnage, that's right, our prime minister, what would it be? And this is like a did you know question. I just saw an article about this and I thought it was hilarious because it so reflects what kind of trouble Canada's in right now. Now, what tax would you like to have removed? Carbon tax? GST? Yeah. Income tax? Oh, that'd be nice. How about the property taxes? Wouldn't you like the feds to say no more property taxes for Canadians? How about capital gains tax? How about capital gains tax? There's so many taxes that we get robbed by. It's hard to choose exactly the right one. But here's the one that Carney gave you. He did save you money. He did cut taxes. Fear no more. The tax that he removed is on yachts over $250,000 and jets over $100,000. So if you're going to buy a yacht or a boat, you want to call it a yacht, you can call it whatever you want. It's over $250,000. You don't pay a tax on it, federal tax anyway. Or a jet. You're going to go buy a jet or an airplane worth more than 200 or 100,000. No, you don't have to pay the federal tax on that. The luxury tax, I think they call it. But if you want to buy a car that's an Uber sports car, you want a Ferrari or Lamborghini, well, you're still going to pay luxury tax on that. No, he's not going to let you get away with that. But if you want to go buy a jet, a plane, probably a helicopter, yeah, you don't have to pay the luxury tax on that. Nice guy. Nice guy. Who does that affect? Nobody I know. No, I don't know anybody that owns jets and yachts. If I did, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on it with them. Oh, it saved me a ton of money. That little tax break there, it saved me a ton of money. I figured it all out for last year, and it saved me this. It saved me Stugats. Now, he said he did it because he wants to relieve stress on the boat and jet industry. Okay. Thanks for nothing. Oh, and by the way, you still have to pay tax on those luxury vehicles. Yeah, you want to buy an Escalade worth 130,000, you're paying a luxury tax. You want to buy a Lamborghini, Ferrari, a Jaguar, or anything like that that's over 100 grand, you're still paying, and you don't get a break on that. Trade him in for a jet. That's what you got to do if you want to save that tax. Are you over 70? Another did you know here. Are you over 70 and broke? Because if you are and you're barely able to make your monthly bills, well, get ready for this. New rules or regulations that are going to limit or take away your ability to drive. That's right. And it's down to 70 in some provinces. I think it's still at 80 in Ontario, but that could change. But we're the next group, seniors, to be tacked on the driving front with a multitude of health exams, eye exams, and driving skills exams. And somebody always wants to take advantage of seniors. We call them scam artists. And now you can add the government to that list instead of worrying about seniors who tend to drive slower and be more responsible with years of driving experience. Why not roast up all the illegals and immigrants and these kids that don't even have a license and can't speak or read English? What about that? These kids with these hopped up cars that blast all over the place, making tons of noise. Crack down on them. What about cracking down on these goofballs driving around in electric vehicles and scooters and that? With no licenses. They don't have the license. They got drinking and driving charges. They still drive. They're all over the streets. They break every law in the book. How about cracking down on them instead of seniors? How about these delivery drivers who buzz around your neighborhoods and then jam on their brakes, beach their vehicles in the middle of the street? You have to go around them on every major street. And how about checking those guys out, giving them tickets? There's a lot of seniors that also subsidize their income by driving Ubers and skip the dishes and that kind of thing because they don't have any money. Now you're going to take away their license, which definitely gets them out of that game, and they can't make money. I mean, there's not many things old people can do anymore to make money if they have to supplement their income. So you're going to take that away by taking their car away. And most 70-year-olds that I know, me being one of them, I mean, we're not old and feeble. I think 70 today is a little bit different than 70, years ago, maybe even 60 years ago. When I think of people that were like my age now, years ago, they were like with canes and had their pants pulled up to here and that kind of thing. And not anymore. I mean, people that I know that are my age, and my eyesight's going, probably my mind's going too. Maybe I just don't notice it, but they don't look too feeble to me. They seem pretty good. Now I know I know it's seniors, but it's not really the seniors. It's the BMW and Subaru drivers that are the problem. Worse drivers don't signal and are always a threat in the jungle out there. And it's just when you see these guys, you got to stay away from them. That's what I do. I see a Subaru and I just give them lots of room. BMW guys don't signal, so don't even look for a signal from them. Believe me. And to be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned about all this, I couldn't even care less if I ever drove again. There's too many maniacs on the road. Very few of them are old timers. Could have, if I could afford it, I'd have a driver. I just have a driver to drive me everywhere. I wouldn't even bother driving. I park the car. He could drive my car, whoever it is, he or she. I wouldn't even bother to start the car up. Somebody else would be doing it for me. The day of self-driving cars can't come soon enough for me. And, that could be a solution to seniors who don't have the eyesight or the health or whatever and are going to get their license pulled to give them their independence back, to be able to go out and do the things they want to do with a car. That might be one way they could do it, right? I mean, it's really great. If you had one of these self-driving cars, I mean, think about it. Liz could take the car to get a ride to work, and the car would come back to the house. Then I could use it during the day, and then it would go back and pick her up at the right time, and that would be it. It would be perfect, because right now she drives to work, and the car sits there every day. Perfect situation. And I don't think that's far off, to be honest with you. I think it's happening. Like in Vegas, they already have driverless vehicles. I mean, a cab pulls up, you wave at it, and you get in, and it takes you to wherever you want to go. You just tell it where you want to go. Anyway, you got to check the rules and make sure that you conform. You don't want to get caught without the right qualifications to drive and some restrictions on your license and everything else. They're going to have to get medicals and all kinds of stuff. But check with your province, your local province, for the rules and regulations. And I think all the big stuff in Ontario still starts at 80. That's what it used to be. So I got a few more years to drive around like a reckless maniac. And before they catch me and make me go take a bunch of tests and everything. Look at the clock. What's the clock say? Okay. Now we're halfway through the show. Are you kidding me? Already halfway through the show. So it's time for me to talk about Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And, of course, the tenet of a good pizza. How do you make a good pizza? Well, I'll tell you how I make it, right? Is I use a great sauce recipe, a great crust recipe. This is when I make it myself. And I use fresh toppings. And that's how most people who make a pizza do it. And that's why when I don't feel like making a pizza, which is most of the time, I give a call to Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue and I say, Rex, Mike, cook me up a Pete's Works pizza. I'll see you in 15 minutes. And when I go there, it's hot and fresh. It's ready. They use the Mancini family recipe for sauce and the crust. They use the blend of brick and mozzarella cheese to go on the pizza and all fresh toppings. You cannot go wrong. And the reason it's consistent is because they use those recipes. It's always consistent, always good. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. They know what they're doing there. And they have a full menu. You want wings with that pizza? Fries with that pizza? Poutine with that pizza? A chicken parm sandwich with your pizza? A steak sub with your pizza? Steak and cheese poutine with your pizza? Panzerotti? They got it all. They do it all. I had a panzerotti from there last week that was out of this world. Fantastic. It's this big. Seriously, it's this big. I cut it in half, and Liz and I have half each. That's how big, stuffed up with toppings. Oh, it's fantastic. Can't beat it. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, a new store now to service the northwest part of Niagara Falls on Thorold Stone at Kaler. Hey, you guys can have a great pizza too. Give them a call, 905-374-2222, Pete'sPizzaVictoria.ca. You want to go to their website to order, or they use Dine and Dash and Skip and all the other services. Order your pizza today. You know you want one. Now that I'm talking about it, I want one. Okay, we thank you for supporting our sponsors. They support the city. They're good corporate citizens, and we want to support small business in Niagara Falls. Right? Right. Okay, so what the hell is this January 16th PD Day? What is it? And why is the city spending money on activities for schools? The PD Day on January 16th. Why are we spending money on this? What is this? Okay, yeah, all the activities at the McBain Center, Exchange, Gale Center, Library. I mean, what is this all about? These guys get 4 months off a year. Well, they need a PD day in January? I mean, is it too stressful for them to go to school for 2 weeks? They just had 2 weeks off at Christmas. Now they have to have a PD, whatever that is, professional development. What are they developing? PD day. I mean, you wonder why our taxes are high and these kids don't know anything. Yeah, you don't believe it? Give a kid a $10 bill and tell them and say, for a $9.59 item and see what they do. Oh, sorry, we don't do that here. What? You don't do what? Give change like that. What do you mean you don't give change like? Oh no, we don't give change like that. Look at this guy grabbing stuff out of the garbage here. All right, he's got it going on. He's grabbing the good wood here. He's making something. But yeah, so they get a feed this PD day. I mean, February 16th is Family Day, another crazy holiday. Um, and we are doing another day here in January for what? I don't know. I don't get it. Can somebody explain this to me? Maybe you send me a message. 289-994-7560 and tell me exactly what this PD day is and why they have to have it. Who's it for? Teachers, the kids, but they're making a big deal. They're going to open all these centers for the kids. I don't get it. Please explain it to me. They just had 2 weeks off for Christmas. Now they need another day. I'm mystified. I'm flabbergasted. Down to the Caribbean. Let's go down to the Caribbean. The Caribbean. Yes, man. Yes, man. Trump's not messing around. He freed Venezuela from dictator Maduro, and now he sets his sights on Colombia, Cuba, and Mexico. None of them are being left off the invasion leaderboard. They're right up there at the top of the leaderboard. Cuban ally Maduro, who exclusively used Cubans as his personal bodyguards because he didn't trust Venezuelans. I mean, there's a $50 million bounty on his head. I don't think I would trust people around me neither. I don't know why he trusted Cubans. They could have collected that bounty too. But he had a lot of money though. He's leading the drug cartel. He probably paid them good, so they didn't have to worry about that. As a matter of fact, they will not be getting anything from Venezuela, Cuba. That's it. They're cut off. The main supplier for Cuba since the Russians turned their back on Cuba decades ago. They turned to Venezuela, and Venezuela has been supplying them with everything. As Venezuela fell under Maduro, they got less and less, but they were getting oil in that. And now he says there will be no more oil or money moving from Venezuela to Cuba. Zero. That's your President Trump. He's telling them, that's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done. Miguel Diaz-Canel, the Cuban president, said that those that turn everything into a business, even human lives, have no moral authority to point the finger at Cuba in any way. Absolutely any way. Well, that's rich coming from a dictator. If you've been to Cuba, and I have been, and I've gone into the big city where most of the people work, and I've seen how they live, and I've seen them lining up for their monthly ration of chicken and rice. That's all they get. Yeah, this guy should not be talking about human lives or moral authority or anything to do with how people are treated. If Cuba was smart, what this Canal guy would do, but he'll never do it, is join hands with the US. I mean, come on, people, 80 miles away. You could almost see Cuba from Key West, 80 miles away. There is everything that the Cuban people not only want, but need. Food, supplies, oil, modern amenities like air conditioning, bicycles, cars, people that can work and build Cuba again. Yeah, and they don't want to take advantage of it. Now the Venezuelan people are going to benefit from the United States going in there. Believe me, they're going to straighten that out. They're going to get the oil going, and these people are going to get their country back. I mean, Venezuela was a very rich country at one time with the oil and that. They were really doing well until the socialist dictators, Chavez, got in there and took over. Once they did that, it went downhill fast. That oil money is going to bring wealth to the country, and it's going to rejuvenate it. And if you've ever been to Cuba, like I said, and moved around the country a little bit rather than just staying at the resort, you'll know exactly what I was talking about when I talked about chicken and rice. I mean, I didn't know how bad it was. I was in Morone. We're in Cayacoco, and we went into Morone. It's about an hour away. That's where all the people who work in the Cayacoco and all those islands there. And you have to cross a big causeway to get into the mainland, Cuba, because there's nothing on these islands except resorts. They're off the coast. You go into Morone, which is the biggest city there, and I saw people lining up. And I thought it was Sunday when we went in. I thought, well, maybe this is some kind of thing they have after church. They go and they pick up, I don't know, lunch or something, like a fried chicken joint or something. And I asked the guy, what are they doing? All those people lining up? That must be good chicken in that place, because I saw pollo, like. He goes, oh, no, that's the what they call it, the market, the government market or whatever, and they go get their 8 or 9 kilos of chicken for the month. Their ration with rice for the month. It was pretty wild. But I think that the Canal guy should jump up on his offer to help the island and get them back going as well, because it's a jewel. Cuba's a jewel. I don't think it's going to be that easy. The mindset of the Cuban people is a little bit different towards the United States than some places. And I read a book and I bought in Cuba, and it was by a Cuban author, and it was the Cuba from a Cuban perspective, not from the American perspective of what happened, talking about the CIA and that kind of thing. And it's very, very interesting to see what America has done to Cuba over the years, since the early 1900s, and well before Castro, well before the New Year's Eve revolution, and why Cuba's like it is today, and why Cubans don't particularly love Americans, and there's embargoes and everything else. So, interesting book. I would say anybody should get a hold of this book and read it. It's well worth the perspective on what's going on. But anyway, we'll see what happens. The embargoes are going to be lifted, but if this Canal guy is smart, he'll talk to Trump and make some kind of a deal with Cuba and get Cuba rejuvenated, because without oil and without supplies, they're gonna really fade fast. They're gonna go downhill. They're gonna be a revolution there again and throw out the current government and get an American person in there regardless. Either way it's going. You might as well go and enjoy it. Okay. So Mexico isn't off the hook either. If you're planning a vacation to Mexico, watch out for flying debris. Trump said the U.S. will begin land strikes on Mexico to target drug cartels, even though alleged cartel associated and President Claudia Sheinbaum has said she doesn't need Trump's military to control the cartels. Well, she's wrong. Cartels run that country, and that's all there is to it. And she can say all she wants about, no, it doesn't, but it does. Go to Mexico. You'll see it. You don't have to take my word for it. Go down there. Go to Playa del Carmen or Cancun. You'll see who's the cartels are running. Every one of those restaurants and all that pay tribute to the cartels. Every one of them pay. If they don't, they get blown up or killed. That's how simple it is. Trump insists the cartels run Mexico like I do, and in that regard, he'll start land attacks on cartel strongholds. He doesn't need international law. He's not looking for approval from anybody, and he's not looking to hurt Mexicans. He has one goal, and that's cartels. That's his mission. That's what he said. He's going to start land attacks on strongholds. He warned leaders to get their acts together or they'll face the same fate as Venezuela. Now, Colombia and Cuba are teaming up to defy Trump and has warned Trump they will fight. If he tries an invasion of their country like he did to Maduro, yeah, okay, sure. Gustavo Petro, he's going to make a trip to the White House. He rethought his position. He's making a trip to the White House to talk to Trump in the first week of February. So stay tuned for that meeting because I think they're going to really find out fast that Trump's willing to work with them. They just got to control what's going on there. That's their big problem, right? Now, Trump, in regards to Venezuela, has met with the world's big oil companies, and the result wasn't really what he thought it might be. It wasn't really clear cut. The oil producers were kicked out of Venezuela, and their wells nationalized years ago, and more than once when the country fell to revolutionaries. So they don't have a lot of trust after investing billions of dollars and getting screwed. Trump was looking for $100 billion of investment to revive Venezuela's oil industry, but it doesn't look like it's going to be as easy to raise as he thought. The big oil companies said that Venezuela will have to make significant changes to attract big investment. Right now, they feel Venezuela is uninvestable. Conoco president said that the country's entire energy system has to be restructured for them to even consider going back in. And Chevron, though they're there, they're still producing in conjunction with the Venezuelan cooperation. What's it called here? Petroleos de Venezuela. They're still producing, and that's Chevron that's still in there. Exxon and Conoco's assets were grabbed in 2007, and they took it to a world court. And in arbitration, they did win a settlement of billions of dollars, but they never got their money. They never got compensated for it. So for them to go in a third time, they say they got to see some significant changes before they go in and some guarantees. Now, I think that with Trump there saying the Americans are going to be running it and doing it, I think that might make a difference. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, Chevron is the only U.S. oil company still operating in Venezuela. They currently produce about 250,000 barrels per day, but feel they could ramp up production by at least 50% in the next year or two if the conditions were right. So I think we're looking at a 1 or 2 year time frame to get all this straightened out and all going again, if it goes. But if it goes, it'll be great for the Venezuelan people. Now, Trump isn't finished because the Monroe Doctrine, which people are starting to call the Donroe Doctrine, includes anything in the Western Hemisphere, including Greenland. And Trump sent a warning to Greenland: you can either join us the easy way or the hard way. Up to you. And NATO stepped in saying they're going to defend Greenland. And that right there is a huge statement from NATO, because NATO includes, well, all the NATO countries, of course. And they're going to step in and fight the U.S. And Canada's involved in that. Of course, Canada's involved in it. They're part of NATO. And if they decide they're going to defend Greenland for Trump, then Trump's going to be fighting Canada, Germany, UK, France, whack-a-pun. Everybody's in NATO. So the U.S. would be at war with all these countries, including England and France and Canada and, and the rest of them, thus basically terminating the United States membership in NATO. You got to throw them out. Greenland is a territory of Denmark. Article 5 states that if you attack one, you attack all. It was invoked once on September 11th, 2001, 9/11, in support of the U.S. after the Twin Tower attacks. Of course, Every Democrat is against taking Greenland, and some rhinos that are still left over in Congress and the House are still against it. So it's going to come down to that and see if Congress, via the House and the Senate, can take care of stopping a takeover. We'll see. And Trump just feels it's a national security as Russia and China ramp up their naval vessels in the area, especially plying a passage to the north with 40 or more Russian ships going back and forth, breaking ice and keeping the passage open. Security to North America and the West is at risk. And the U.S. already has a military base in Greenland. They had more, but they pulled some out. And Greenland, really, I mean, it's a land of nothing. There's nothing there. Nanook, I think, is the capital, and it's like got 59,000 people. I mean, the whole country has 59,000 people. There's nothing there. It's all just a glacier. And there's about 19,000, 20,000 people in Nanook, I think it's called. So there's really nothing there other than strategically being in the right place for a military bases and that kind of thing that can operate and keep everything safe. I mean, you got Russian subs, Chinese subs up and down. What the heck is that hunk of junk? Running up and down the coast between Iceland and Greenland and Iceland and the UK. So they're all in there, infested with these subs and ships and stuff. So there is definitely a security threat there. And so they're going to see what happens here. We'll see what happens with Trump and what NATO does, because this could be the end of NATO. I mean, this is it. NATO without the United States doesn't exist. NATO's leverage is the United States because together they couldn't do anything. But when you have the United States involved, it's a big deal. So we'll see what happens there. Now, back in the U.S., the left-wing loonies are staging George Floyd-like riots across America, protesting the death of Renee Nicole Good at the hands of ICE. You know, the one she tried to run over with her truck. And her wife was videotaping the event and encouraging her to run them over. Yeah, that same person. And imagine this, like we had, my nose is itchy. I'm going to get money. Imagine this. You've got people who are supporting and backing criminal, illegal aliens, gang members over the authorities who are trying to get rid of the gang members and bring law and order to a town. That's what this is all about. You know that, right? This is about protecting illegal aliens, criminal gang members, like those two in Portland. They ran their truck at a cop. He shot him, and then they find out the one guy was a Trinidad member, and his the girl in the car, was a prostitute for them. I mean, this is the people that they're protecting, these criminals. That's why she got killed, to protect illegal alien criminals that ICE was searching down and throwing out of the country. So go figure that one out. How does this affect Canada? Well, I mean, we're going to have these same protests there. You remember when there was protests over George Floyd, BLM was protesting all over the place. They had protests everywhere. We're going to see these same people, and they've all been hired. These are hired people. They've admitted they've been hired on national TV by the left-wing Antifa people. They've been hired to go and protest. They're getting paid for it. This isn't organic. People on the streets just so mad. And it's not illegals that are protesting. It's all white people. It's all these paid actors. That's all they are. And they're coming to Canada. Don't worry about that. Now, you're going to see this kind of stuff, like I said, happening every week. Every week there's going to be a new incident. Because this is how the loony left, these radical left-wing lunatics like AOC and Bernie Sanders and Ilhan Omar and then Talib Rashid and all these other people, that's how they operate. They operate by obstruction and by trying to discredit Trump and his government. It doesn't matter whether it's Marco Rubio or Kash Patel or Christian Noem or any of them. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's all the same. That's what they do, and they're going to continue to do it until the midterms in November to try to take over the House and the Senate. And if they ever do that, it is going to be one impeachment after the other. And that's all they're trying to do between now and then. None of this makes sense. It's not going to make sense to you. You won't be able to understand why, generally speaking, a beautiful young girl, was radicalized somewhere along the line, ditched her husband, burned her kids with cigarettes. They were taken away from her, and then married a woman, and ended up in a truck trying to run over an ICE officer, being shot to death, unalived. Let's call it that. It doesn't make any sense, but this is what happened, and this is what's happening all over America. This isn't just Nicole Good, Renee Good, whatever her name is. This is a lot of people, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. You see it manifesting itself in every big city in the United States right now. Every day, you see it happening, and it's only going to get worse. As the radical left, they have no chance of winning. They have nobody. The only thing they can do is try to discredit Trump, and continually do it, and continually do it. He's the bogeyman. Nothing that's happening in Canada or the United States is because of Trump. It isn't. You can blame everything on Trump in Canada, but it's not Trump. It's our government. 10 years of Trudeau and now carnage. That's who you want to blame. But it's easier to blame Trump. And that's what they do, and that's what they're going to do. So just keep watching for it. But a lot of stuff's going to come out now that we got Maduro, because he knows what happened with those Dominion voting machines. He's got the story. And he's going to spill his guts. And a lot of people are going to go down because that election was rigged in 2020. Now it's proven. And a lot of people are going to go down because of it. Just watch. Anyway, we're at the witching hour. I'm getting out of here. Close again at 1 o'clock. My hour is up. But I'm still waiting through that operations budget. Just let me get through it, and I'll report back to you guys. I hope they get it done by Thursday. Maybe Thursday I can talk about it, go through it all before Al McKay comes in on Friday. That's going to be a good show. I can't wait for him to come in. He's really good when he comes in. He knows what he's talking about. And, of course, we'll get into other stuff during the week here, too. We've always got something, news going on every day. There's stuff going on. And we'll get it to you. Of course, Wednesdays, absolutely. So we'll be talking about the Habs, what they've been up to lately. And, we'll see what happens with the region. By May 1st, something's got to happen. And that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that on Friday, too. Anyway, I'm out of here. My name is Paul Calamere. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q Radio. I ask you to support my sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Hey, if you would like to be a sponsor and you're watching this show, let me know. I'd be glad to sit here and talk about your business during the show, 4 days a week. So, let me know if you want to market your business and have me talk about it. Anyway, God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow at noon on Trash Talking Tuesday. Promises made, promises kept. Have a great rest of the day. Let's see if we get any snow. And as we get back into winter in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. See you later. Ciao, ciao.